I grew up reading fairy tales, all different kinds. You know, like I read like tons and tons and tons of it, and I read romances. I read, you know, all different kinds, and I don't know, is it unrealistic? People always say that it's not. It's just a fantasy. It's just a fantasy. But if it's just a fantasy, how come we so like cleave unto it, and we just want to like go, oh.
Every man has to be the Prince Charming, and every woman has got to be the beauty queen. And that's not the way life goes.
Once you've been in relationships and you've been hurt, that first hurt kind of takes away that fairy tale expectation.
I can't do it. I can't fall in love. Because then I have to make sacrifices, and I have to. It's two people now, so I can make sacrifices. I've been so independent.
You shouldn't need someone else. You should want someone else. And that's what I try to teach my children.
Sometimes I wonder if I have a little, fantasy fairy tale in my head that, my parents didn't have the best relationship, that maybe it's out there.
I don't think you can get rid of it. I think it's something that people do. I mean, that they want that. That's a good thing. But that it can't be shallow.
People have certain expectations when they get married that everything's just going to be perfect. And then when it's not, they don't want to work it out, or they easily end it.
Some people, they don't build that friendship first. They don't have a foundation.
But you can't change nobody's behavior. You can only deal with their behaviors or not.
You choose how you respond.
Yes.
You can't change them.
If we have 5 minutes of laughter a day, that's pretty happy. But that's not very realistic. But you're right, we need hope, and happily ever after kind of sets that forward.
I guess it all works out then.
Yeah. But you could vacuum a little more.
No, you're right. And I could.
Well, fairy tales as such are archetypal statements of what's going on. Hansel and Gretel and Snow White and Rapunzel. These are archetypal. We all have archetypes. And those archetypes are like the DNA for your soul. Like one of the archetypes is the playboy, the playgirl. That's the sex-oriented one. Then we have the hero and the Amazon. They're the money makers. Parts of everybody. Everybody. Then we have the mama and the daddy. That's the nurturers or the caretakers. And then we have one archetype, which is very powerful, and it's carried by the yin energy person. It's called the Black Madonna, or the Madonna in Spiritus. That's the person who says no. So fairy tales as such are stories about how humans operate.
I think they're a part of social myths, and I do think. I mean, we read them to our children. It's part of the stories that they take all along with them, and very few of them are realistic. And so I think becomes part of our fiber that's what will happen.
But the problem is, people buy fairy tales in real life based on movies and books and the PR program that's sold to them by their churches, by their cultures, by their families. And some of those fairy tales end up with totally lonely, isolated people, because projections are simply the fantasies about reality. In therapy, we call them delusions. They have the fairy tale delusions that you can have it all now.
The first thing I think is, if it's the very first date, inconsiderate. If it's all about them, this is what we're gonna do. If they show up to your house late, to me, like the first day, you need to be considerate of somebody else. To me, inconsiderateness.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
What's your marital status?
Single.
And why is that?
Single because things just haven't worked out.
Would you like to get married?
Someday, yes. I'd like to get married and have a family.
Why you don't think things have worked out?
Different bad timing, different places in your life. You got to be ready and open for it. Both people have to be ready, and just haven't had two people ready at the same time.
What about just a relationship, necessarily marriage, but just having someone special in your life?
Right now?
Yes.
I don't have anyone special in my life right now.
But why?
Why? Part of it's I've been really busy dealing with myself. I think you need to be in a space where you're comfortable with yourself and comfortable with your life before you can kind of give to someone else. So I've been trying to finish school and get my master's and work and do what I need to do and travel, and then kind of be ready then to share that with somebody.
If I'm chasing somebody and I like this person and this person didn't give me no kind of feedback, I ain't wasting my time. See you later. Yeah. I gotta feel that she's vibing with me. I gotta feel okay. She's giving me some hit, and you feel that vibe when somebody's liking you. You can tell when somebody's feeling you back and forth. You can tell.
Yeah, it's just that.
But if you don't feel that vibe after a couple of weeks, you're like, she ain't snapping. She don't want this much. She don't want me.
Nature in its wisdom has designed our nose to have a vasosensory organ in the back, which is called the Jacobson's organ, which is a book. The Jacobson's organ job is to pick up pheromones, which are the molecular DNA packages that come across, like if I go 30 inches near you, I'm going to pick up your molecular package, and I'm going to either want to touch you or I'm not going to want to touch you. You're either an alien or you're kin. Do you see?
When was your last relationship?
Serious relationship would probably be 3 years ago. 3 years ago, maybe. And then a lot of like dating here and there, a couple months.
Did you get hurt?
I have been hurt, yes.
And what happened?
They're gonna want me to elaborate. I don't know why I just sat there. Well, I mean, I guess the moment was I was in a really long-term relationship, 3.5 years, and the person I was with actually moved abroad for school. And basically just one day it was like, I can't do this anymore. And I was ready to get married. I mean, that's who I saw myself with. And so that kind of hurt because it was kind of sudden, kind of not really expected. So yeah, that hurt.
When somebody is into you, they are going to pursue you.
You
don't have to sit and wait for that phone call. You got that message on your machine when you walk in the door.
Yep.
So yeah, I agree. The ones that I love you, or you tell them after a few months together, I'm in love with you, and you're calling them, what are you doing? They back away. Oh man, she getting real clingy. Hold up. I don't know about that.
But if they're really into you, they would think that was cool.
No, but if they're into you, they're doing that to you.
Okay, single.
And why is that?
Because I'm having a difficult time with all the drama you have to put up with in a relationship. So I'd rather be single right now. I do have a friend, but he's incarcerated. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds because he's where he is and I'm where I am.
So that's easier for you?
It's less drama.
So is it because you've been hurt before?
Oh yes. A lot of hurt, trust issues, and I've just finally built up my self-esteem that I'd much rather be in no relationship than deal with a lot of BS in a relationship.
So what happened when you got hurt? What caused you to be hurt?
I was in an off and on relationship with a guy for about 10 years. And when I met him, he was wonderful. He was like everything I thought. Then I found out he was separated, and I'd never been with a married guy before. Unbeknownst to me, he still had relations with his separated wife, and he got her pregnant, so we broke up. Then he found out that it wasn't going to work out because that's why they were separated from the beginning. Then I started still seeing him, and he ended up leaving his wife, and just a bad, dysfunctional roller coaster relationship. Once he got his divorce, I thought it was going to be better, but then he smelled freedom and acted like he didn't have a girlfriend. And just back and forth for 10 years with him. We broke up again. He married somebody else. That didn't work out, and I took him back yet again. So it was my own self-esteem that I was just really beating myself up. And finally, 3 years ago, I told him, that's it. I don't want to be with you. I love myself way too much to be with somebody like you.